Hey everyone, I thought it was probably time for a proper update because I realised the other day that I've been on tirzepatide for over 80 weeks and that just seems crazy to me because it feels like I started yesterday and at the same time it feels like I've been doing this forever. So I thought I'd sit down and just chat about where things are at. Now let's get the numbers out of the way because I know that's what everyone wants to know. My highest weight was over 130 kilos. We think it was probably around 133 kilos. When I started Mounjaro, I was at 116.8 kilos and today I am 81.5 kilos, which still sounds completely insane when I say it out loud. I'm also currently stuck bouncing around the 84 to 82 kilo mark since the start of February. Every time I step on the scales, I have my fingers crossed thinking, come on mate, let's get into the 70s. Is it driving me bonkers? Absolutely. Do I stare at the scale like it personally offended me? Yeah. But the difference this time is I am not panicking. I'm impatient to get there because I've honestly never been in the 70s in my entire adult life. But compared to the old me, I'm actually surprisingly calm about it. Maybe because this time it feels different. I know I will get there. I know I won't need to sell my soul to do it. Maybe a kidney to pay for it, but not my soul. If you're new here, by the way, I'm Mandy. I'm 52, Australian, mum of 3 grown kids, happily married, and apparently now one of those people who talk about Mounjaro on the internet. I've lost over 50 kilos from my heaviest, more than 35 of those on Mounjaro. But for most of my adult life, losing weight was all consuming. The tracking, the mental load, the pressure, the feeling that life could only properly begin once the weight was gone. But now, for the first time, instead of living to lose weight, I genuinely feel like I'm losing weight while still living my life. So if you're figuring out GLPs, food noise, hormones, midlife changes, or just trying to understand your body a little better, welcome. I think one of the biggest changes that has changed over the last year isn't actually the weight. It's my relationship with food. Before Mounjaro, I genuinely thought I had no willpower. I thought everybody else was somehow better at this than me. I thought they were more disciplined, more motivated, better humans. And then I started hearing people talk about food noise and I remember thinking, what the heck is food noise? Because I didn't even know it had a name. I thought that constant conversation in my head about food was normal. I thought everyone was doing that. I thought everyone was negotiating with themselves all day, every day. I just thought they were better at it. And then I took my first dose of Mounjaro and I'm not gonna lie, I thought I had been scammed that first week because nothing really seemed to change. Sure, I felt the nausea and I had a blinding headache, but that was it. As I'd already paid for it, I took the second dose a week later. Again, nothing until midway through that week. It was my husband's turn to cook dinner and I forgot to remind him to get started on it. I literally forgot. My internal food alarm clock, which usually goes off dozens of times a day, had been snoozed. That honestly was one of the biggest light bulb moments for me. It wasn't that I suddenly became a different person. It wasn't that I suddenly found willpower. It was that the thing I had been fighting for decades wasn't there anymore. It was there, it's just quieter. And I realized maybe I wasn't weak after all. Now I want to talk about something that I don't think gets talked about often enough. Even after losing all this weight, every now and then I still get this little voice in my head that says, you cheated. And I know there are a lot of people online who think that too. Maybe some of you have heard it from family members, maybe friends, maybe complete strangers on the internet. But how can it be cheating if it's not a competition? Who exactly am I cheating? I've spent over 30 years trying to lose weight. 30 years. I've done keto, Weight Watchers, Fast 800, CSIRO. I've started on so many Mondays and fallen off hundreds, if not thousands of wagons. And every time I blamed myself. I've screamed at the scales. I've promised myself I'd do better. I just have to have more willpower. I've done all of it. So if somebody hands me a tool that actually helps, why wouldn't I use it? Do I wish I could have done it without medication? Yeah, my bank account agrees with that. I think that's probably the honest answer. Part of me wishes I could have been one of those people who just decided to lose weight and just did it. But I'm also incredibly grateful that I stopped waiting to become that person, because this has changed my life. I'm not being dramatic when I say that. Not just physically, mentally too. I'm happier, I'm more confident. I don't spend every waking minute thinking about losing weight anymore. I can actually plan holidays without wondering if I'll need to ask for a seatbelt extender at the airport or for the hire car. My blood tests are looking good. I still go to the gym. I go hiking twice a week for an hour at a time. But the funny thing is, some of the biggest wins aren't even scale related. They're the weird little things like lining up for a theme park ride and not wondering if you'll have to do the walk of shame. Scooby-Doo coaster, I'm looking at you. I'm thinking about going go-karting and not worrying about the weight limits. Buying clothes without automatically heading for the biggest size in the plus size section. There was a lady training with a trainer I see at the gym a lot, and apparently the trainer mentioned my weight loss to the lady. Afterwards, the lady came over to me and told me what the trainer had told her, and that, and congratulated me on my weight loss. I thanked her and I said I was on Mounjaro, and her face just lit up and said same. I don't know why, but I loved that moment because it reminded me how many people are quietly doing this. They're not shouting about it, they're not posting about it, they're just trying to improve their lives one step at a time. Now, where do I go from here? Honestly, I'd love to get into the 70s. After spending most of my adult life over 100 kilos, reaching 130 plus at my highest, seeing a 7 at the front of that scale would feel pretty incredible. But I'm also trying really hard not to rush it. We've got holidays coming up, so I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to live my life, and I'm going to go on all the roller coasters. Or at least the ones that don't look super scary or do that horrible drop thing. I hate those ones. But when I get back, I'll keep going because this isn't a race anymore. That's another thing this journey has taught me. Patience. If I could go back and talk to the version of me who started this journey, I'd tell her this. You weren't lazy, you weren't weak, you weren't lacking willpower. You were fighting a battle you didn't even know how to name. And you were doing the best you could with the tools you had. And if you're watching this and you're sitting where I was a year ago, scared to start, worrying that it's cheating, worried about what other people will think, my advice is very simple. Start. Just start. A year from now, you might be looking back wondering why you waited so long. And honestly, that's the biggest lesson I've learned from this whole experience. Anyway, that's my update. If you found this video interesting, give it a like and please subscribe because it really does help the channel and helps other people find these videos too. And if you're sitting where I was 80 odd weeks ago, feeling excited, nervous, overwhelmed, or wondering what the actual you've signed yourself up for, go and watch this video next. It's all about the things I wish I knew before starting Mounjaro. And honestly, it would have made those first few weeks a whole lot less confusing. Okay, I'm done rambling now. Be kind to yourselves. See you next time. Bye. Bye.